It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Happy Thursday. Happy birthday, USA. I'm Jeff Parles. Good morning.
I'm Alex White. Good morning. Quick show, but a lot of baseball to get to.
Yeah, a lot of baseball. It is a full slate. Baseball's actually, MLB, credit to them, actually putting these games during the day for the most part. So a full day of baseball. You can get your apple pie. You can get your hot dogs, which... by the way, a gentleman named Jeffrey Esper is the betting favorite to win the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, which will get going in about 30 minutes. Coverage just begins in Coney Island in a little bit, but gets going about half past the hour. So I think that's all you need to know with no Joey Chestnut in the field this year. We can swoosh it, Sean. Let's go. Started off starting five, as always, here on the 4th of July. And we're 2 years away from 250 for the anniversary. It'll be right in the middle of the World Cup, hosted here in North America, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico 2 years from now. We start in New York, though. It's pretty appropriate. We start with the Yankees here on the 4th of July. And the Yankees are not playing well. 3-10 in their last 13. In danger of being swept by a Reds team that was underwater entering the weekend, is still underwater right now. They'll actually face the former Yankee, Frankie Montas, here this afternoon in the Bronx. Marcus Stroman. They won his last start, even though he got in a little bit of a screaming match with Gleyber Torres on the field. Yanks in this one, minus 170, total 9 in this one.
Pretty big favorite for a team who has only won 3 of their last 13, but it is the name, and they can always flip that switch. We'll see if it happens today. Number 2, Game 3, Giants and Logan Webb face Charlie Morton and the Braves. Giants took Game 1, 5-3. Chris Sale and Atlanta won 3-1 yesterday in Game 2. Morton and the Braves minus 115 total, 8 in that one.
Atlanta, as you see on the bottom of your screen, you think offense. No, their offense pedestrian this year. Their pitching has been, again, keeping them in things so far. And Chris Sale, who has been dominant this year, including yesterday, yet again with a great start for the Bravos. Number 3, how about Houston winning the first, winning 2 out of 3 to begin that series north of the border. A little sacrilegious to talk about the game in Canada today, right, Alex? Astros, another big under team this year, actually game better than Atlanta, 48-28 to the under. Valdez, Bassett, your pitching matchup, and Houston, they minus 111 favored behind us.
All the money on the Astros yesterday, too, and it was the correct side, as you mentioned, winning that one 9-2. They trending to the under as well, 48-28 to the under this year. Number 4, Diamondbacks. 12-4 win over the Dodgers yesterday after LA's walk-off in Game 1. So another one where we are tied in the series. Zach Gallen goes for Arizona against Landon Knack and the Dodgers. Dodgers minus 124, 8.5 over, minus 115 in that one.
Orioles send their ace in number 5 to the mound. Not the betting favorite right now, but the guy who I think should be the betting favorite is on the bump here today. That is Corbin Burns taking on Bryce Miller of Seattle. Burns, a minus 140 favorite. Mariners struggling to hit yet again, trying to avoid being swept at home by another first-place team. Baltimore, American League best 55-31. And that is your starting 5 here this morning on America's birthday here on July the 4th. By the way, there's one game already underway, as they always play, at 11 a.m. local time in D.C., really just a missed opportunity. We just should have taken the under because everyone's still half asleep there in the nation's capital. Mets nothing, Nationals nothing. So very
top of the 5th already.
Electric offenses in that one between not the greatest pitching matchup, Irvin and Quintana in the nation's capital. All right, Alex, that's your starting 5. Let's dive into it here today. There are just so many baseball games. Let's go through some that you have some plays on, and then we'll look at the leans. We'll look through as many as we can here. Of course, Gone Racing coming up in 55 minutes from now, so we're out of here a little bit early today. Let's start in Pittsburgh here. Cardinals and Pirates. Palante and Perez, the battle of the P's in Pittsburgh. See, the letter P is the letter of the day, obviously, even on the 4th of July. You know, Martin Perez got hurt, missed a month, has been pretty average, all things considered. Palante Again, a guy who they translated over from the bullpen into the rotation. The Cardinals, as we know, St. Louis holding a wild card slot, a game and a half clear of the Mets for that third wild card slot in the National League. Palante's a small road favorite, minus 108 right now, total 9 there in the city of the Three Rivers.
Pirates win yesterday 5-4, and people are betting Pittsburgh in this one. I like the other side, though. I like the Cardinals here at minus 108. I actually bet a bad number. I have minus 110 on this one. But Palante, as you mentioned, coming in from the bullpen, hasn't started that much, but has in the month of June. In his last outing against the Reds, threw 5 1/3 scoreless innings, while surrendering 4 hits in that one. Before that, Giants really hit him pretty good, 5 hits and 5 runs, but just 1 earned run against the Cubs, 0 against Colorado. I think this is a good spot for him. Pittsburgh, the bats were pretty hot yesterday, still ranked 24th in the MLB with 648 total hits, though. So I do like this price here. But I should mention as well, Perez has been much better at PNC at home if you look at his game log. But I still like the Cardinals to take the series, win 2 of 3.
This is a grand stay away for me here today. Very happy to not bother, at least on my end. You know, it's... Again, you look at this Pittsburgh team, they're 3 games behind St. Louis. So, again, the one good thing, well, or bad thing, whatever way you want to look at it, all these teams in the National League, for the most part, we've talked about it, are just clumped together because no one has separated and everyone's around 500. Well, the Pirates are still more than alive in this. By the way, Pirates and the Mets will play 4 starting Friday in a wraparound series. So, again, they're going to be playing a team that's in front of them, so Pittsburgh may try and take advantage of teams in front of them in their own ballpark the next few days. So, again, this is the rubber match, as we said, but you are on St. Louis in this rubber match here today in Pittsburgh. Going to the Braves and the Giants, you mentioned this in your starting 5. Charlie Morton, Logan Webb, and Alex, you're going to do something that we haven't done much on this show, which is go against Logan Webb. The market has bet Atlanta here. The market best number is behind us. It's minus 119. There's a lot of minus 20, minus 125, minus 123 in the marketplace. Total started at 8, went down to 7.5. Now it's back to 8 in this one in Atlanta. Again, the Braves, who on paper going into the year, offensively speaking, Alex, best lineup in the National League, second best lineup in the National League. They have been as average gets so far this year in basically every offensive category. They actually had 360 runs, smack dab in the middle of the NL. It's been their pitching that has held up even without their ace Strider.
It really has, and this is a really good pitching matchup between these two. But I will say Logan Webb, much better at Oracle Park, so kind of going against him a little bit here. Charlie Morton has been very good for the Braves. Last 3 starts, batting average is just 190. I did go on under, though, in the first 5 as well, because I do think it is such a good pitching matchup from both sides. So I got under 4 with plus money there, even money for that. But big play, yes, on the Braves money line, minus 115.
Atlanta's still in control of that top wild card again. They're not as good as we thought. Injuries can do that especially when you lose your best starter, your best position player. Very hard to overcome. I would anticipate at some point that their offense does kick it into gear, but we're waiting. We've been waiting the whole year since, even with Acuna in the lineup, they were slightly above average, but they weren't ever elite this year like we've seen over the last 2 years, where they were at 2 years ago. They played 800 ball the last 3 months. And then last year, we're the best team in a regular season in baseball before, of course, the new playoff randomness really taking them out back-to-back years. Let's go to L.A. next, Alex. Oh, you got one more note on this game?
Just for that, I do trust the Braves bullpen more, too, and that helped me have this play with the home team here.
Going to L.A.
We can go to the Phillies and Cubs. You want to just...
We'll circle back. We'll circle back. Let's go to L.A. first, because this series has been all sorts of weird. Dodgers walk it off on Tuesday. Last night, bombs away for the Diamondbacks, which, by the way, on punchlines, which we'll hear from Ryan McCormick in about 20 minutes from now. Line of the night will involve this game because Christian Walker just loves hitting at Dodger Stadium.
That's right.
So the Dodger Blue sends the young buck Logan Knack to the mound tonight. Zach Gallen goes for Arizona. Dodgers minus 124, total 8.5 in this one. Alex, and I can tell you right now, based off the notes, not looking at the favorite in this one, and the market is agreeing with you on this game.
I think this is the dog of the day here with the Diamondbacks. I got it at plus 122. I still like it plus 114. And I did bet a little bit of insurance here. Diamondbacks plus half a run in the first 5 minus 140. I just think it's a huge pitching advantage for the Diamondbacks. Gallen has been much better on the road even than at home. Coming off of a 1-hit game in 6 innings pitched in Oakland against the A's. And then his last road starts, 4 hits, 2 runs, and 6 against Baltimore. 0 earned runs, just 1 hit in Cincinnati. So I really like him in this spot. And Diamondbacks are starting to heat up offensively. We saw that yesterday. It's funny you bring up Christian Walker because I have that written down as well. 17. He leads most home runs in Dodger Stadium since 2018 as a visitor there.
Pretty impressive. That is a variation of the stat that I have for line of the night because Ryan McCormick and I landed somehow on the same line of the night. We also landed on something else that will be a punchline segment today, which is pretty wild as well. All right, let's Cubs and Phils. Want to go there?
Yes.
Let's go Cubs and Phils. In Chicago, hey, look, a sunsplash day at Wrigley Field, always a good thing, especially on a holiday like today. Tyone and Sanchez. You know, we've talked about Ranger Suarez so much this year. We talked about Zach Wheeler. We've even talked about Aaron Olenot. Mr. Sanchez has been spectacular this year for Philadelphia and probably deserves an all-star nod when the team is revealed later this week. We've talked about the Phillies' injuries this week, Alex. The market is playing the Cubs, even though the Cubs, again, have struggled for offense now for the better portion of 2 whole months here. They're 9 under 500 in last place in the National League Central, in danger of being swept at home. This is a really good price on a pitcher who's been awesome this year at home. Total is 7.5 here.
It really is. And I do think that is the right side here with Philadelphia. It's just really hard going for the sweep in Chicago. I would also look at Philly's team total over, which is 3.5 here. Just juice to the over, though, minus 135. I think that's a good bet as well.
I know we've talked about this in the past, Alex, but when there's a team going for a sweep, how does that influence your numbers? It was a few cents, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I think I said 20 cents.
Yeah, it was a little more than a few cents.
Yeah.
On
with
20.
that revenge.
Yeah, because I remember we had this discussion back it's July now. It's probably April we had this discussion, but again, a little more of a sample size now on all these teams. I know in April we're all trying to figure the books are trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure it out of where these teams are. We at least now have half a season of sample size to help us along as well. We'll go to the portion of the day that is leans, which we always love, which you want to really be paying attention to these because these usually don't miss, Alex White, as we know. Let's start in Cleveland. How about the White Sox actually yesterday with an offensive onslaught all of a sudden?
They were not supposed to put up 8 runs.
Yeah, I know. Shocking, more so than anything. But Fetty pitched well again.
Yes, he did.
So you were on that right. Schuster and Lively. So the total's down to 8.5 now. It was 9 overnight. I know you like the 9. I thought 9 was good too. Can you justify 8.5 now on this? Even though you're dealing with the White Sox offense after a big night last night?
It's tough, though. I mean, game 1, we saw Guardians win 7-6, and then last night,
super over on the
White Sox 8-2. So that is why this is just a lean, but I do think the under is the right side in this one.
I will say this, just throwing out the price real quick. I'm not sure Ben Lively should ever be at minus 220 favorite. And keep in mind, this is actually down from where we opened here. This opened Cleveland minus 250. So the market's taking this down 30 cents on Cleveland, 20 cents on the Sox on the dime line. This is still aggressive with Lively, even though he has had his moments this year. I'm just, again, there's some pitchers that even in a matchup like this, that I'm just not certain they should ever be this big of a favorite against anyone. Now, granted, you have a guy who's really got not much of anything on the other side in Schuster. So, again, it's a difficult one. Cleveland, run and a half, it's interesting. Cleveland, run and a half, minus 115. We saw a bunch of games yesterday that were priced in the minus 170 range that were similar on the run line. So if you do like Cleveland here, I don't mind exploring. Again, I don't love laying prices on run lines, but don't mind exploring that if you wanted to go that route.
It is a pretty cheap price there, but I'm with you. I do think that is a little aggressive for Lively. Even though the White Sox have been hitting, they really have. So that's a tough bet to make.
Let's go to one more lean here for you. And this is, I will say, when I looked at the notes this morning, I was a little surprised with this lean because we've talked about Kenta Maeda, who has been a little bit better of late, but is still, the numbers are pretty ugly, all things considered, for Maeda. Ober goes for Minnesota, who I know is a guy who you like finding his games and looking at if the total's in the right spot or not. We've talked about the Tigers' offense being pretty blah. 8, the total in this game, juiced to the over on this one in Minneapolis.
And I do lean to the Twins, definitely. I just don't like that price. That's 170 is a big price to lay here with Minnesota, but I do think that is the correct side. I like the under. Think there's still some 8.5s out there if you can find them. Or it's funny you say that, so we don't have to worry about Maeda, but looking at the Tigers team total, looking at that under, if I can find it here, 3.5. 3.5 for that.
Yeah, that would probably be the way that I would look. There's 1 8.5 left. It's mostly 8 even on under right now. So I think if you find a 3.5, good juice, that'd probably be the way. Again, Maeda scares me. That's the only reason I'm a little bit hesitant on a matchup like this. Let's look at some games that are in the starting 5 here today that we may not necessarily have a bet, but are important games to the slate. So Yankees and the Reds, Montas and Stroman. Yankees are a huge favorite here, trying to avoid the sweep. Minus 170, plus 155. Hey, it was the same price as the last game we talked about. 9 on the total, juice to the over. I'll say this. Ellie De La Cruz, if you put him in pinstripes, and I know that Reds fans will probably yell at me for saying this, boy, what a match made in heaven that would be if you put Ellie De La Cruz in that ballpark, as we've seen so far in this series. The Yankees, I'll just say this, Alex. We know Aaron Judge is probably going to run away with the American League MVP if he stays healthy. Juan Soto's been the second, at least to me, the second best player in the American League. The Yankees have missed Giancarlo Stanton. Yes. And I know a lot of people like getting on Stanton. Oh, he's always hurt. He can't play the field anymore. Giancarlo Stanton was on pace for over a 40 home run season before the injury. He was having a spectacular year power-wise, and at least gave the Yankee lineup another dimension past those top 3 guys. I'll throw Volpe in there as well because he's had a nice season. Obviously not the level of Judge and Soto, but there doesn't seem to be a sophomore slump that there was a concern about with Volpe after a tremendous rookie year.
Yep.
But after those 3 guys, they have nothing right now. I know they're relying on Ben Rice, who came up to replace Rizzo, who was giving them nothing. But, boy, minus 170 with the Yankees at this point against, except for the bottom feeders in baseball, it's a tough price to justify laying here, Alex. This would be one of those, hey, if the Yankees bats wake up, all right, what are you going to do? I don't love the fact that they're trying to avoid a sweep.
Right.
But that price on Cincinnati is juicy. And if you want to just look at Ellie De La Cruz props and such, you could look in that direction as well. Don't love the pricing that's out there right now, but if you want to take total bases on Ellie De La Cruz, I don't have an issue with that today.
I think your handicap is right. I mean, even with adding in that extra cents for avoiding a sweep, I still have the Yankees minus 150. So 20-cent difference there. I'd say there's some value with that plus price with the Reds.
Significant, even with. So I just will ask you then. With that big of a thing, would that be like, I know you're probably not going to play it, but would that be like, hey, maybe this will be a smaller play? Maybe they'll play a half unit on this because even though I don't love it because of other factors, my price still says it's good.
Correct. That is the difference that I am looking for, 20 to 25 cents to even start to look if it is a play. So Yes. And you asked me this week or two ago about the Marlins, and the Marlins won that game.
Well, remember, that was the day where value popped on the Marlins and the White Sox, and we were both like, really? Do we want to subject ourselves to that with the White Sox facing Chris Sale and the Marlins on the road in Philadelphia?
Yep.
Guess what? They both won that day. So, hey, again, numbers, not teams.
That's right.
Numbers, not teams. One of the old cliches that is 100% true in this business in play again here, potentially on the Reds. Other games we brought up in the starting five that I want to at least get to here. I don't have a play north of the border. I just want to bring this up because this number's been wild in its movement because we're right back where it started. If you just did this on Houston, and this is a recent move in the last 5 minutes, we're back to where we started. It opened Houston minus 113, plus 103 on Toronto. We're back there. We're back there now. The bettors legitimately on my screen 3 minutes ago took this from minus 106 on Toronto back to a plus number on the Jays. So it's now minus 113 on Houston, plus 103 on Toronto. Total's also been all over the place as well. 8.5 juiced over, now 8.5 juiced under. It just a wild ride here in this game, which makes it a very hard game for me to justify popping in on. If you like Toronto, you're getting the best price again, but I don't like Toronto in a pitching matchup that favors Framber Valdez here.
I agree. I do think the Astros would be the side that I was playing if you made me bet this one. Toronto does have a little bit of an advantage in the bullpen, but offensively, I mean, the Astros have really been hitting well. Blue Jays in their last three, 220, and Astros in their last three, 257. So not a huge difference, but I do think enough. I like how Houston's playing right now.
Astros are playing as well as anyone, arguably better than anyone. They have been, again, we talked about this at the end of June. They end up with tied for the most wins in the month. And right now, entering today, again, they're 2 games out. 2 games out. That's it.
Right.
They are squarely alive in that American League West. And we've talked about it. If the Mariners don't add offense or find offense, again, that lineup in theory should be quite good. It would not shock me one bit if Houston just ends up taking control of this American League West here. Again, kind of doing what they've done the last few years. Slower start, getting themselves doing it.
Will you check if that plus 150 is still out there for me to win the division for the Astros?
I can absolutely do that if I can kick to you here on the Mariners and the Orioles, Alex White, where Baltimore is a minus 144 favorite against Bryce Miller. Corbin Burns, the ace, goes for Baltimore.
It's funny because this was 5 on our starting 5, but this is definitely one of the best pitching matchups we have going today. Corbin Burns, 2.28 ERA, 99 strikeouts to his 24 walks in 106 innings pitched. And then on the other side, Miller, 3.88 ERA, 91 strikeouts to his 97 innings pitched. Both of them very good whip as well. And Miller's been hit a little bit more last 3 starts, 288 batting average for his opponents against. I thought this number came just right. I think I lean to the Orioles here and them actually hitting where the Mariners have really been struggling. But I think that number is correct.
To answer your question before I give my thoughts on this game, you can get plus money still in Houston. It's plus 120.
Dang.
It's not quite the plus money it was even yesterday, but you're going to be.
I said I was going to bet it yesterday.
You're running out of time because
That's right.
I wouldn't be shocked by the end of the weekend that Houston is favored in this division, especially if they handle their business today. Lean to Baltimore for you in this game. I'm in the same boat as you. This would be a lean to the Orioles. I just want to see how the market plays out before this game starts. Again, it is day baseball, but we still have 3.5 hours until this game starts. I want to see if because the market does like betting on Bryce Miller. And especially at a nice, juicy plus price at home, I'm just curious to see if we see a little bit of a take here, get Baltimore sub 140, then I would hop in. Minus 144 is probably okay on Baltimore still, too. But I'm going to wait this market out, see how the market plays it with Corbin Burns, who, again, I know he's not the Cy Young favorite. That's Tariq Skubal. I think it's a wrong favorite in that market. I really do think when it's all said and done, the voters this year will take into account, especially if Baltimore ends up with the 1 seed in the American League. Big part of that's going to be the fact that they had a bona fide ace in Corbin Burns. And as great as Scooble's been, I think it's just a little too much of an uphill climb for Scooble. Could Scooble still win? Of course. If he continues what he's done the whole year, he's going to have a damn good case. I still think Burns should be favored right now in the American League Cy Young. I do want to bring up one more game, and that's solely because Colorado again, Alex. By the way, good work yesterday, Christian Yelich. On a day he was named an all-star starter, homers. You were all over that on Frank's show on Hump Day homers. So, Alex, I know we've had two low-scoring Colorado games in a row, but we have a 10.5 with 2 mediocre pitchers again today. I wish this game was a day game. It's not. It's an evening game. It's a 6:10 start in Denver.
Right.
If this was a day game, this would be a no-brainer. Don't think about it. If it doesn't get there, so be it. Tip your hat, move to the next one. But these are not quality pitchers on the bump for either teams. I thought this should have came 11.5. It comes 10.5, which means let's go with the over here, even if it's juiced at -115.
It's a lean that way, but I'm with you on the time of when the game is starting. If it was a day game,
we wouldn't even be thinking.
Right.
It would be, hey, we're clicking a button on our phones and we're going with that.
Correct.
For Colorado. All right. The rest of the slate here today. The only other game, I don't have a play on this, Alex. I just want to bring it up because it's a really good pitching matchup in Arlington with Texas and San Diego. Michael King and Max Scherzer. Scherzer has looked the part again so far in his first few starts of the year. I know he had the one struggle in Baltimore, but hey, that's an elite lineup. Michael King, we know, high strikeout guy. This has also been an aggressive mover. This is another reason I'm bringing this up. From -132 to -115 on Texas. So the Padres, who have been playing excellent baseball, have moved from out of the playoff mix into the second wild card in the National League. It is all San Diego action behind us. Total's also gone down a half run, which is a shame because if you got 8 last night, job well done. I thought that was good at 8, 7.5. But just with Scherzer starts, if you're betting props, be aware of what the length's going to be.
Right.
I think we're going to see if Scherzer's pitching well, go through 6, at least maybe even push into the 7th for Scherzer. So that's something to at least look out for. Again, he's going to expand his length as he goes along this year.
With this moving, I lean to the Rangers. I just, like you said, the Padres are clicking as a team. You can tell they're playing well together as opposed to the Rangers, who really aren't, and you would be betting just solely on the starting pitcher. So maybe looking at the first 5 Rangers if I did take the home team.
I know Paul Skenes exists, and he's rightfully almost a $3 favorite in the NL Rookie of the Year race. Where the Padres would not be where they are right now without Jackson Merrill, who is basically, since Tatis's injury, has created Tatis's production.
Yeah.
OPS north of 900 for Merrill since the injury to Tatis. He's been awesome. And if it wasn't for Skenes, I would say he should be the Rookie of the Year of the NL. Again, the question is always with Skenes is going to be how many innings is he going to go, and will it be enough to win that Rookie of the Year? Because if Skenes stays healthy and continues on the pace he's going, it will be very difficult for anyone to win that award other than him on the NL side. All right, Alex, we have 2 WNBA games today. I know that on a holiday here, the market has actually played a little bit differently than we would have expected here today. Let's get both of these games here in the last few moments we have. Connecticut and Minnesota, which is a dynamite game there at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Minnesota coming off a loss against New York. 3-point favorites at home against Connecticut here today. Total astronomically low for a WNBA game. 150.5, Alex White. And that's down from the opener of 151 behind us.
152, actually, because I got under 152.5 yesterday.
Oh, good work there.
And I tweeted it. So if you're not following me, make sure you follow me because I'm going to start tweeting my WNBA.
We have figured this to be the best thing with WNBA games because people love betting those totals.
Yes.
More so than anything in this.
You're right. It is the totals that will move a lot. I still like it here at 150.5 if you can find that hook. I still like that under. These 2 teams play the slowest in the league, and they're also the 2 best defenses. So the first game did go to overtime, so it wasn't over. And we were incorrect with saying the Sun haven't beat anybody good because they did beat the Lynx. This is the only team they won that game in overtime, which really makes me like Minnesota in this one as well. So I like the favorite, that -3. I think that's a good bet as well. So 2 separate bets, the under and -3, and a little bit of a parlay with the Lynx and the under.
Going to Vegas in town here. I don't have any plays on that game. For this game, I don't have any plays as well, Alex. This is the two-time defending champs against the league's worst here today, 15.5. These teams actually met in D.C. over the weekend. Close game, Aces won but didn't cover. So we very rarely see, this isn't a pure back-to-back against the Mystics, but this is within a week, almost close enough to being a classic home and home. 15.5, 172.5. That is a big number to lay, but we know the Aces, especially at home, have played well against the bottom of this league.
You're right. And when we talked about that game in Washington, that was a lean for me taking the points with the Mystics. I didn't bet it, but now my numbers do say that this 15.5 should be okay. About a 2.5 point difference from what I made the Aces here at home. They're playing so well together. I mean, we just saw them over the Fever. I don't think we'll have any hangover from that big game, even though it was great crowd in T-Mobile. So lean to the Aces. I'm not going to bet that big number here either. And I think the market is going a little bit too high as well. I made this game 169, so a little bit lean to the under for this one as well.
Entering today, standings-wise, real quick in the WNBA, New York 17-3. Of course, that Commissioner Cup loss does not count against the ledger for regular season records. Very much be looking at a situation like a year ago where the Aces lose the Commissioner Cup final, get the 1 seed, win the title. The Liberty team looks as just absolutely dynamite with the stars across the board on that team. Sun are 2, Minnesota 3, Storm 4, Aces who played 2 less games than Seattle at 5. Remember, very important to have a top 4 seed in this league. I would love for the WNBA, and this will be a different discussion for a different time when we get to it in the playoffs, Alex. They need to go best of 5 every round. Yeah. I really don't like the best of 3 format, especially with the wrong team having home court in Game 3. Just an unfair advantage for a team that has home court. You want that decisive game in your building, not on the road in a winner-take-all scenario. Let's bring him in. We'll see him in 2.5 hours. Our guy, Ryan McCormick.
Yeah.
Producer of Punchlines, known Punchy as well. Ryan, what do we have here on the 4th of July? I know I'll be there. I know you and I
get to see more.
We did a fun exercise last night that everyone will see on the show.
Yeah, we're going to have a fun with the nation's pastime. So all the baseball games today, as well as a fun game between Jeff, Frank, myself, and, of course, Fungo Trivia. So you're just going to have to tune in at noon.
Very good.
Be a lot of fun. Fungo Trivia Mets-Pirates combination today.
Yep.
By the way,
Is that different from other Thursdays?
Pirates and whoever they're playing, either the series during the week or at the end of the week.
Okay, very good.
So we may be having, I texted Ryan about this, we may be having a very special Fungo next week. Maybe having it. It'll be an interesting one, a little bit different on that. All right. This show will look a little bit different. What's up? What do we got? I thought
I saw the whiteboard.
We saw the whiteboard and we thought it was for us. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So before we go, Alex will handle what was on the whiteboard real quick. Alex has a well-deserved vacation coming up, so a well-deserved few days off for Alex. I will be here. We'll have a whole collection of different co-hosts over the next few days. Starting with, if you listen to our great South Point studio special on the Euros, my co-host for that, Tom Viola of Unabated Sports, will be with me tomorrow co-hosting, and then we'll see a familiar face on Saturday.
Very good.
I'll tell you about that tomorrow, Alex White. We hope you enjoy your trip, but we do have something in the chat, though, before we go.
Yes. Just shout out. We have Vinny in here and JR. And
JR from the ballpark, right?
JR from the ballpark, yes.
There we go. Always JR, a common commenter on our show and Punchlines as well. You can go in the mic, Ryan. Go ahead. Go ahead. There we go. We don't need to put Ryan on camera because he doesn't have his glasses right now. So,
Yes, happy 4th, JR. Happy 4th, Mini Dar. Happy 4th to all our listeners.
Putting the holiday greeting on it
very
as
good.
well. Enjoy your 4th of July out there. Enjoy your trip. We'll see you in a few days, Alex.
Thank you.
And also as well, Dwayne Colucci on the show tomorrow. Can't forget Colucci. Stay tuned for Punchlines. There's a lot of fun things coming up, as Ryan said, at noon. Normal schedule here today. And Gone Racing in 25 minutes from now. Catch you later. Have a great 4th, everyone. This has been Sports by the Book.